I've got my cooling rack, and that only means one thing, Wendy Huggins. I'm sharing my chocolate chip cookie dough recipe today. So stay tuned and get something to write with, because this one's a keeper. Welcome to Help at Home. I'm Jim Hightower. Today is a very special day because I'm sharing what my family simply calls my cookie recipe. You will need half a cup of brown sugar packed. That means that you dip your half cup measure into your bag of brown sugar, push it down with your hands and try to put more in, then rub it off on the inside of the package and dump it out. See how it conforms to my measure? Half a cup of regular sugar and 1.5 cups of flour. But let me talk about brown sugar real fast. Brown sugar is something that if you don't know, once you open it, it's got to be stored airtight or it will dry up and be hard as a rock and you can't use it. You'll never break up all those bits. I like putting it in a Ziploc bag. Preheat your oven to 375 in case I didn't say that. Alright, let's talk about flour. I have 1 cup in here. We need 1.5 cups. And I've got my half cup measuring cup. I'm going to grab a butter knife. This measuring. You dip your half cup measure into your container. It should be overflowing, and you just get your knife, put it straight level, sweep it right off into your container, and that's how you do it. You need to know these little things because measuring flour in baking is very, very important. It can make the difference between a flip, yay, or a flop, oh. We need also 1/3 cup of butter and 1/3 cup of shortening. So this is my 1/3 cup measure, and I just want to show you. Instead of dipping this in here and it's all mushed and nasty and greasy on the outside, come over, grab your handy 3 spatulas and get your small one, dip in and mash it in there. Yeah, it's still, I mean, it's grease, it's fat, it's shortening, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a little bit of a mess, but you don't have to have it everywhere. There's my 1/3 cup of shortening. As for 1/3 cup of butter, if you read your little information here, it tells you how much is a tablespoon. It also shows you 4 tablespoons is 1/4 cup, and that 8 tablespoons is also another 1/4, which 1 stick is 1/2 cup. For 1/3 cup, it's actually 5 1/3 tablespoons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and right there. There it is. I've cut it. It's ready for Big Red when I pull Big Red out. I'll be right back. Let me go ahead and go over the rest of this ingredients. 1 egg, 1 teaspoon vanilla, 1/2 teaspoon soda, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1 package chocolate chips, and if you're interested, 1/2 cup of nuts. You need to mix your sugars, your shortening, and toss that 1/3 cup measure right into the sink. Go ahead, put your egg in, give it a crack, and let her go just like that. Again, best practice, if you're new, is to get a small dish, crack your egg in there. That way, if you get any shells, you can fish them out, pour your egg in. We need our 1/3 cup of butter, which butter is a shortening. I did not know that till I was much older than some of you may be. And you may be my age and still not know it. Put that in the snack drawer. I love that snack drawer. You put little things in there, keeps them cool. Cold. What a concept. Alright. We need our paddle, because the paddle attachment is used for heavy things, batters, doughs. Start slow, let things get mixed in. No need to have some kind of volcano explosion. And then, with this handy stand mixer, you can just turn it up. Vanilla. Again, let's talk about vanilla. You want the real thing. No imitations, that's just gross. And if you put in the work for something homemade, why would you ruin it? Okay, now, you have your 1 teaspoon measure and you pour it in. However, once you get going, and you're a real pro, which you will be after this recipe, you can just eyeball it. Give it a small splash. Exactly 1 teaspoon. And you don't have to clean up your teaspoon, your measuring spoons. Let's let that mix in real quick. It's always good to get your spatula, scrape down the side of the bowl, and even into the bottom. Push it down and around. Wipe it on your paddle. And lift it up. Mix it up one more time. There you go. Half a teaspoon of soda. And my little box is just about out. Kind of level it off. You can scrape it on the top of the inside. Again, we're going to mix that into this little bowl of flour. That way, things are not all thrown into one place. Because who wants a big gob of soda? Because that's kind of bitter. Then I have my little Coca-Cola cup of cooking salt, which is regular salt. I just keep it covered and in the cabinet for cooking. Dip it in, level it off, shake it in. You're good to go. Cover it back up. Then I just do a little light mixing there. We're out of paper plates, which I find so handy in the kitchen. Start mixing the flour in. Slowly at first. Remember, you don't want to turn it on fast and have the fur fly, theoretically, whatever. Just go ahead. You can turn it up a little bit. It's always nice to let things get incorporated before you put too much in. And there you go. Then you can turn it up a little bit, and it's easy to tell when it's done. It'll start scraping around the inside of your bowl and cleaning the bowl. Of course, one more time, scrape down off the sides. Then, give it one more quick mix, and I think you're going to be ready for chocolate chips. Here they are. In my little knife block here, handy set of kitchen scissors, and snip, snip, and you can dump them right in. Of course, as the cook, you have to have a couple for quality control. Let it stir in slowly for just a second, and then if it doesn't seem like it's mixing in, just stop and let it go. The paddle would be good for helpers and or the quality control wife to test that. I can't tell you enough. As you're cooking, you'll want to test what you're making. In baking, most of the time that's okay. It's not like it's raw meat. Voila. Look at that goodness. As my wife would say, I could go to the corner and eat that with a spoon. Sometimes the best things are old things that are just worn out, used up. All you have to do is put a piece of foil in there and you're good to go. But let's talk about this thing. I hate it. It's one of those air-baked pans, which several years ago they were touted as the marvel of the world. You put stuff in them and bake them and they won't burn. Well, they won't cook either. They have this bottom level of metal and then a hollow bit of air and then this top bit of metal. And not only do they just never seem to cook for me, but if they do, they take forever. So, just like Julia Child would do it, it's a horrible thing and nobody should have it. I'm just going to throw it. So, I have my nice old pan here. Two choices. If you have foil, that's a wonderful thing. Pull a sheet out, put it down. I put the shiny side down, but my wife and I have a debate. She puts the shiny side up. Write down in the comments below, how do you use your foil? But sometimes the best things in life are the things that you would never buy for yourself. Several months ago, my family gave me a box of parchment paper. Never had it, heard about it, but it's kind of like wax paper, but better. I mean, it's kind of like Teflon for the kitchen. I mean, Teflon for your baking sheet. You put that in there, it doesn't matter which side. Things don't stick to it. It's a marvel. You should try it. You can get out your big tablespoon out of your drawer here, and you can just go to town or get you a handy one, but then you kind of have to form that, and that's fine. You use what you have because the best thing is the thing that you have. But what if you had more? 2 big crocks and 1 ceramic one. If I had to keep going into these drawers for big things, just wouldn't work. Alright, you need cookie dishers. Some people might call them an ice cream scoop. But, look at this. It's one of those, what could be easier things. You put it in, scrape a little off the side, you flick it, turn it over, you're done. And I just flicked a little ball of cookie dough across the floor. I'll do another one. Put it in, kind of scrape it on the side, flick it, you're done. Hallelujah. See? That. I'm going to space them out. Okay. This is your regular disher for like 2-inch cookies, which in the old days, that was the standard because people weren't little piggy hogs. This disher is for making a larger cookie. It says 1.5 tablespoons. We also use this for making sausage balls in the holidays. It's been washed, of course. You just dip it in, wipe, and put it out and turn it over. And there you go. I'll try to show, which, that's just goodness. If you're baking cookies for like your child's classroom event or a church event or whatever, the 2-inch cookies are probably best because you can get several dozen out. First pan filled up, I got 4 down and 5 across. 4 times 5 is 20. There's your math lesson for today. You do want to have them spaced out because when you put them in the oven, they're going to start to melt and they'll spread. Okay, push them back, set your timer. Since I did my video on the Amazon Echo devices, let's do that. Echo, set a cookie timer for 7 minutes.
Cookie timer, 7 minutes, starting now.
And that's how you do it. Your oven may take 7 minutes, it may take 10 minutes, and it may take 5 minutes. So the first time you make it, watch, take notes, and write them down on your recipe.
Your cookie timer is done.
These are done. They may look a little raw, but look here. Let me try to hold this without burning myself. Look here, around the edges, they're brown, and that's just what you want. These may look a little raw, but they're going to cool for about 4 or 5 minutes, and they will go down a little bit, and they'll continue to cook slowly as they cool off. If you've read recipes like I have that say remove the cookie immediately to a cooling rack, it's a lie. If you try to take something delicate and soft like a cookie or a bread and move it as soon as it comes out of the oven, it's going to fall apart. It has to recompose itself as it cools. So just remember that, write that down, and share that with your friends. Back in 4 minutes. Alright, it has been a little over 4 minutes. Get my handy dandy spatula out of the crock. You need a nice, cheap, thin spatula to scoop cookies. And set my baking sheet on top of it because that helps the air get under and cool it more. If you get sporty, you can grab 2 at a time. And as Julia Child always said, you know, use your hands in cooking, your impeccably clean hands. If you pull out something like this monster, which it doesn't look that much bigger, but it is. I've torn up some cookies with that. The recipe says you can get 4 to 5 dozen, not 45, 4 to 5 dozen of 2-inch cookies. I personally am going to get 43 cookies, which is shy of the 48 needed to make 4 dozen because 12, 24, 36, 48. If you're doing a party, you obviously want to double this recipe. With a stand mixer like Big Red, you could triple it or quadruple it. Well, these cookies are so wonderful. I just can't tell you enough. And because of the part butter and part shortening, or the part Crisco as we say, it keeps them soft. Of course, after they cool, you could store them in a Ziploc bag or an airtight container. But one of the biggest rules of cooking, no matter what you're cooking, is it must cool to room temperature before you put it up. Otherwise, things can sour on you, and that really stinks when you've put time into something. If you're interested in any of the products that I used in this video, check the description below for links to where you can check those out or buy them for yourself. Well, that's all for today. If you like this video, and you will after you've eaten some of these great cookies, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe and share with your friends. Click on the bell in the top right hand corner to get notifications when new videos are released every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm creating a network of fun and I need everyone's help. So be sure and share with your friends. I'm Jim Hightower, and remember, everyone needs help, even me. Thanks for watching. Also, let's talk very quickly about the diabetics that you love. Friends and family. There was a song, appropriate or not, in the 80s, Naughty Girls Need Love Too. Well, diabetics need sweets too. You can use Splenda Blend because when you cook, especially when you bake, you need some sugar in there or it won't brown. Recipes just won't turn out right. So here's regular sugar, Splenda Blend. Half sugar, half Splenda. It measures twice what sugar measures because of the Splenda in it. So instead of half of a cup of the sugar on the blend, you need 1/4 of a cup. Same thing with the brown sugar. It's half brown sugar, half Splenda. And you also need to store it airtight or it'll dry up like a rock at a volcano. Same thing. So you'll need 1/4 of a cup of this. And keep your diabetics happy.